Cincinnati. This place is known as the Jungle, Synergy Field, where the Bengals have not lost since Bruce Kozlett took over as head coach last year. This afternoon, Kozlett facing his old team, now coached by Bill Parcells, who hopes to get the Jets back over the 500 mark. Good afternoon, everyone. Along with James Lofton, I'm Mike Green. It's amazing. After just 4 games, the perception of the Jets around the NFL has completely turned around. Perception by their opponents, by the fans, and James, by the Jets themselves. Last year, they were hoping to win a game. This year, they feel every game they take the field, they can win.
Yeah, last year they had the fortune of losing 15 games. That's tough to do. But the Jets haven't had a reason to not get up for a ball game yet. Week 1, they open on the road. Then they go up and they play the Patriots. And now they're on the road again. And it can't just be another ball game. They have to get some emotion in this ball game for the Jets to win.
Cincinnati, meanwhile, their expectations extremely high. Nothing short of a playoff berth will work for them. But they've got some problems. They're 1-2. Bruce Kozlett says the heat is on, and it's going to be a little hotter today because their star running back, Keyshawn Carter, he's out with a shoulder injury. Yeah, and that's going to be a big loss for this ball club. But they're going to go with Corey Dillon, the rookie. Guy may be a little nervous at the start of the ball game, but he has a lot of talent. But still, this team starts and stops with Jeff Blake and what he can do from the quarterback position. And as long as you have Carl Pickens to throw the ball to, it's a good duo. As for Kozlett, again, this is his former team. He was fired by the Jets, but he's downplayed it all week long. Len Berman, you had a chance to talk to Kozlett. Is that legit, or is he really extra psyched up for this one?
Well, Mike, I talked to him earlier. He said in his mind this is absolutely a non-issue. Others have tried to make it one, but he hasn't bitten. He did have the best line. He was asked about Jeff Blake being with the Jets. Kozlett said at that time some idiot decided that Blake should be a third-string quarterback. Kozlett, of course, was referring to himself. By the way, Boomer Esiason just walked over to the officials a moment ago and said, remember all those penalties you called on the Jets when I was with them? Make sure you continue to do it. The officials didn't crack a smile. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Len. The Jets trying to win 2 in a row for the first time since October of '94. They're 2-2. The Bengals are 1-2 as Bruce Kozlett faces the team that fired him several years ago. A very nice day in Cincinnati. In fact, you might even say it's hot. 76 degrees. The sun is out, although later this afternoon there is a 40% chance of rain. And this field, certainly no stranger to Neil O'Donnell. Many games here when he played with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's never lost here. In fact, 5-0 as a member of the Steelers against the Bengals in Cincinnati. And he'll get a chance to get the ball first as Doug Pelfrey will kick off for Cincinnati. And this is an area, James Lofton, that the Jets think they can take advantage of. Pelfrey's kickoffs have not been all that deep.
Yeah, they think that they can take advantage of this guy. And starting position is so crucial in ball games now. It used to be if you could get past the 20-yard line, that was good. But now that kickoffs have been moved back to the 30, you really want to get beyond your own 30 and even further if you can down the football field.
Aaron Glenn and Leon Johnson are deep for the Jets. Yes, it is only the 4th game, but the Bengals admitting there's a lot of pressure on this one. They've got a tough road ahead after today. And they want to continue their dominance of a place they call the Jungle. They're 6-0 under Kozlett since he took over last season. Leon Johnson at the 1 loses control and gets up to the 14. Steve Bush on the tackle. 13-yard return. And O'Donnell will take over. O'Donnell has played well when he's had time. He's been very solid, but he hasn't always had time. The offensive line still a concern, and a new starter today, Siu Peli Malamala. Cut last Saturday. He's back with the team and starting for the injured David Williams. Adrian Morrell, Lorenzo Neal in the backfield. Johnson and Graham and Kyle Brady, the tight end. Last week, only 1 sack for the Jet opponents. Neil O'Donnell was getting whacked quite a bit in the prior 2 weeks. He'll throw on first down. He's got Fred Baxter across the 40. And Baxter tackled in Cincinnati territory. Tremaine Mack brings him down, but a 37-yard pickup for the Jets on their first play from scrimmage. And let's take a look at the Cincinnati defense, which has struggled this season. The 3-4 zone blitz. The defensive line still adjusting to the 3-4 with Wilkinson, Copeland, and Olhoffen. Francis Tovar starting in place of Tumulty, and Renard Wilson starting in place of Gerald Dixon, who had a death in the family. The secondary, Ambrose, the Pro Bowler there. Richie Anderson is in the backfield. We have penalties. And we'll hear from Jerry Markwright, the veteran referee, for the first time this afternoon.
Number 66, offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Bonnie Powell.
He's ready to go on one. It's on two. Sometimes offensive linemen, you put a rock in one hand, you say it's on two if it's in the left hand. The pebble is in the right hand for one.
So it's first and 15. That's Anderson in motion. The pitch to Morrell. And Morrell run out of bounds. Renard Wilson and Jimmy Spencer right there to knock him out. And Morrell is someone who has played well, had his career year last season, doing the job this year, but Bill Parcells feels, James, that he still hasn't gotten into the flow of any one game yet.
Yeah, they've been behind in a couple of ball games. And against Buffalo, when he wanted to run them, Morrell had probably his worst game of the year. 14 carries, 27 yards. He was shut down. They really can't get into a lot of long yardage situations against this zone blitz and be effective.
3 wide receivers in. Wayne Corbett. Play fake. O'Donnell has time, dishes it off to Richie Anderson, and Anderson hit about the original line of scrimmage. Timo Van Alhoffen with the initial hit, and Rico McDonald also there as well. So a 3rd and long coming up for the Jets. And the Bengal defense, you look at the numbers, Bill Parcells knows that early in the season you really can't look at stats. Bengal defense way down at the bottom of many stats, but again, sometimes that won't be exactly a reflection of how the defense is playing. However, their Cincinnati defense has struggled.
Yeah, they have struggled, and the biggest struggle has been mentally trying to get everyone on the same page as to what they're doing during the blitz period.
3rd and 10, 4 wide receivers. O'Donnell goes long for Graham and just can't hang on. Tremaine Mack was right with him.
And Mack got away with a little holding there late in the pass route. He still had a hold of Jeff Graham's jersey. It's amazing that the officials won't see that. You know, they think that the guy just has a hand on him, but he was actually impeding Jeff Graham's progress down the football field.
The veteran Brian Hansen is on. Greg Myers back to return for the Bengals. Jets, of course, their special teams have been instrumental in their 2-2 start. Hansen, a high kick. And taken now Marcus Pullman at the 7-yard line. 40-yard kick, and absolutely nothing on the return. Bengals will start off with Jeff Blake deep in their own territory.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. By Volkswagen, on the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. By Lotus, work the web with Lotus Domino. And by Sears Auto Center, we keep you rolling.
Cincinnati Bengals deep in their own territory, their own 7-yard line. Jeff Blake and the offense with their first crack at it this afternoon. Corey Dillon, the rookie, the lone setback. He's in for Kijana Carter. Dillon gets the call, breaks outside. Aaron Glenn slows him down, and finally he's taken down by Victor Green. And the fans have been waiting for Corey Dillon to see what he can do. He picks up 12 yards.
It's amazing. You think of a lot of rookie running backs, and sometimes these guys can be very tentative when they start out a ball game, but not Corey Dillon. And his story is very interesting because he filled in for a running back last year at the University of Washington. This year he's filling in again for someone. Every time he does, he comes to the star role.
And he gets the first down. He's a 2nd-round pick out of Washington. Gets the call again. And gets a few extra yards. What they say about Corey Dillon is he falls forward. Let's take a look at the Cincinnati offense. The offensive line young and inconsistent. Left tackle Rod Jones has to play better. That's what Bruce Coslett told us yesterday. Meanwhile, in the backfield, Dillon will start for Carter. Brian Milne, the fullback. Pickens and Scott, the wide receivers, and Tony McGee, the tight end. Blake, a 6th-round pick of the Jets back in '92. He also downplays any revenge factor. He just never got an opportunity to play when he was in New York. Quick drop, has time, and gets it off to Tony McGee. I'm going to say incomplete. Let's take a look at the Jet defense. Again, they've switched to the 3-4. Hugh Douglas says he's close to 100%. Wasn't last week. Ernie Logan starts. Linebackers the strength. Lewis Johnson-Jones and the rookie Farrier. Glenn having another strong year. Otis Smith had that rough outing against Oakland. Green and Henderson the safeties. 3rd down and 4. There's Hugh Douglas. Playing with the groin injury. Blake, quick throw, incomplete. Aaron Glenn on the coverage. Carl Pickens, the intended receiver. And the Bengals will punt.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Aaron Glenn normally plays the other side of the field, but today it looks like Aaron Glenn is going to shadow Carl Pickens wherever he goes. This time Carl Pickens lines up on the left side. Aaron Glenn stays with him. There's never any separation there. The only way that Blake would have been able to have gotten that ball in was to stop Pickens on his run as he slanted inside.
Glenn is only 5'9", Pickens 6'2". Lee Johnson, a short kick. Leon Johnson at the 22. Gets across the 35 up to the 38-yard line. Eric Bieniemy on the tackle. 52-yard punt, 13-yard return. Brian Mills helping him out there. No score as the Jets coming back out their offense on the field.
This is the NFL on NBC.
Bruce Coslett, former coach of the Jets, 4 years from 1990 to 93. In fact, the last time they made the playoffs was under Coslett, 91. Bill Parcells hopes to change that stat very quickly. His team has good field position, their own 38-yard line, 1st and 10. Adrian Morrell up near midfield, taken down at about the 48-yard line. Richie Anderson with a key block there. Rico McDonald and Steve Tovar in on the tackle.
Yeah, Richie Anderson, Bill Parcells said he guy's a combo back, and that's not something that you order at a fast food restaurant. He says he's part halfback, part fullback, not really big enough to be a true blocking back, not really shifty enough to be a halfback. But what it allows him to do is be more creative on the offensive end of the scheme.
Parcells has liked his versatility since taking over. Morrell again. And Morrell breaks a couple of tackles, gets down to the 41-yard line. Greg Myers finally brings him down. And again, Anderson helping out on the blocking.
Yeah, Morrell is a guy who is so decisive when he gets the ball. I talked to him, and he says, I started to understand the coverages, and by understanding the coverages, I know where my running lanes are going to be once I get down the field. Very quick darting runner, a guy who came into this league, and nobody said, you know, you're not a number one, you're not a great player, but he proved himself to be a Pro Bowl caliber player.
And he gets the first down, 1st and 10. Again, they stay on the ground with Adrian Morrell. Morrell to the 36-yard line. And the Jets obviously want to establish the running game. The Bengals have had problems with it. Rico McDonald taking Morrell down that time.
Yeah. There's Kyle Brady. The guy is a good blocker. Won't catch a lot of passes for you. But sometimes a tight end's ego can get bruised if they don't catch the passes. But not Brady. He appears to take pride in the fact that I'm a good blocker. I may only catch one pass a month, but I'm going to go out there and knock some people's heads off.
2nd and 5. Trebek goes in motion. The 3 wide receivers back in. They stick with Morrell. Morrell spins. Close to a first down, about the 26-yard line. It appears that he has it. And Adrian Morrell off to a good start.
Yeah. The question for the Jets now is, okay, we've run the ball successfully. We're marching down the football field. We're getting toward the red zone. Don't push the panic button and just throw the ball just for the sake of throwing. All week long they said, okay, these are a couple passes that'll work well for us in the red zone. But until the Bengals stop the run, we continue to run the football on them.
And the red zone, something Neil O'Donnell told us yesterday, they've got to improve on their red zone offense. Morrell, this time thrown for a loss. Greg Myers.
Anytime you run the zone blitz scheme, you run the risk of running yourself out of the play when someone's trying to run against you, but also you can blitz and fill up those gaps. That's exactly what they do here. Watch both linebackers coming in those directions, and when they do that, they cover all the gaps. Morrell has nowhere to run, forced to go laterally, and that's not a good thing for a running back.
James Francis actually tripped him up 1st, 2nd, and 11. O'Donnell under pressure. He's hit as he throws and throws it away. Bengals have not had a lot of sacks, only 3 all season. something they certainly want to do is get more pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, and you see Bill Parcells right there. He's not unhappy. You know, that may not look like a smile to you, but to him that was a great play by Neil O'Donnell because he avoided the sack. The one thing he said to Neil coming into this ball game, he says, don't look for the third and fourth receivers in your progression. Get rid of the football. What that does is that makes for happy linemen. When you don't get sacked, your linemen are happy. They'll come to the sideline grumbling about not running the ball enough, but at least the quarterback didn't get sacked.
3rd and 11. O'Donnell's shotgun. Flushed out. Incomplete. But a penalty marker, Tremaine Mack, is going to be called for interference on Fred Baxter.
And see, that's a call that's so unfair because even if that ball is caught, Tremaine Mack is there to make the tackle. That ball is going to be caught at the line of scrimmage. It's going to end up where the Jets are going to get a first down out of this.
Yeah, that's the rookie mistakes, the growing pains they're going to have in this young secondary.
Defense, automatic first down.
Yeah, but Tremaine Mack will say, hey, that guy wasn't good enough to catch the ball, and he has hands of stone, so that's an uncatchable ball for a tight end.
He still has to stay away from that. As Bruce Coslett said, he's going through the school of hard knocks right now. Very talented player. They think he can be not just good, Coslett says stupendous, but you're going to have a lot of mistakes from rookies.
And you had limited the Jets to a maximum of a 3-point attempt there. Now you get them a fresh set of downs. They'll go back down that sheet and find something that'll work down here in the red zone.
They get the first down. John Burke, the second tight end, goes in motion. Morrell gets the call. Finds a hole. And then is whacked at about the 23. Jimmy Spencer with the initial hit.
And so you're saying he found a hole. He found something that wasn't there at all. I mean, at the point of attack, that thing is totally clogged up. Watch the guard pull around. He tries to kick out. Tremaine Mack comes up right there, and he's making the play. You know, on the last play, he says, yeah, I was guilty of the pass interference, but I'm going to come and make something happen here.
Yeah, that's what Parcells likes about him. When there is no hole there, I'll stand corrected. There was no hole there. Proud of yourself?
Yeah, but the guy's a good runner. He made a hole.
2nd and 6. Quick drop for O'Donnell. Incomplete. Intended for Keyshawn Johnson. Ashley Ambrose on the coverage.
Neil O'Donnell, if he's going to go downfield, you want him to have the path to be able to throw the football. And the offensive linemen are getting their hands on him early. And there's but you don't see Neil in that picture. You just see linemen. And that's good because when you see defensive linemen and Neil O'Donnell in the same picture, that's not a good thing.
And that's happened a lot this year. 3rd and 6. 4 wide receivers out there now for the Jets. O'Donnell to Corbett. Corbett, nice cut back inside. And is taken down at the 11-yard line. A 12-yard pickup and another first down.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to understand that there's a time to get down. Neil O'Donnell does a good job here surveying the field. He looks almost immediately to Corbett, gets the ball out to him. That's no surprise on 3rd down. I think everybody in the stands knows that Wayne Corbett is the guy who you go to on 3rd down. But get down, because here comes Renard Wilson, the rookie linebacker, and he comes in with his shoulders and just barely misses, making Corbett part of the carpet permanently.
And that's his 8th catch on 3rd down. He leads the AFC in that department. He led the NFL in that department last year. Adrian Morrell breaks the tackle. Hours in. And just knocked out of bounds short of the goal line. Greg Meyer is able to push him out. Another strong run from Morrell.
You know, but this is what the Bengals are going to talk about when they come off the field. We cannot let this guy get the corner on us. Who has contained? Look, you see the guys, everybody's being pinned back to the inside. See Mack getting up off the ground, Wilson getting up off the ground. Those guys have to stay on their feet. And not only that, when you get a guy like Adrian Morrell, you understand he's a cutback runner, and you're funneling those lanes, but you also want to stop him from getting the corner.
1st and goal at the 2. Check that 2nd and goal. O'Donnell will throw into the end zone. Touchdown, Fred Baxter. His first touchdown catch of the season. And the veteran tight end puts the Jets on the board first.
You mentioned a veteran tight end going against some younger ball players. Myers, free safety, he's in his 2nd year, but this is really his 1st year as a starter. He bites on the play action fake. Baxter just leaks out to the side of the end zone. Easy touchdown reception.
Jets told us they will use a lot of play action. Charlie Weiss who's the wide receivers coach and does all the play calling. Looking over the smart call there. John Hall on for the extra point. And the Jets lead 7-0. Strong drive led by Adrian Morrell's running. Bill Parcells' team grabs the lead. Fred Baxter, not known for his receiving skills, caught only 7 passes all of last year. Had just 4 entering today. Catches the 2-yard TD pass, and the Jets have the lead. And John Hall, you see the 13 touchbacks. Last year, the NFL leader for the season had 20. He is well on his way to bettering that. One of the strongest young legs to come into the NFL in a long time. Eric Bieniemy not going to go anywhere. And that's one of the keys for Hall. And one of the reasons Bill Parcells absolutely loves the rookie from Wisconsin.
Yeah, but if you're a kickoff return guy and Hunden makes Bieniemy stay in the end zone, Bieniemy's going to fuss at him on the sideline. He's going to say, you know, we said we'd bring it out 2 or 3 yards deep. You're telling me to stay in. Because sometimes the coverage team can get so confident in that kicker's ability to get the ball down. Instead of sprinting down, they're on the, the Saturday jog where they're, run by the office. See you later, honey. And if those guys don't sprint down, you can get a good return even if the ball's deep in the end zone.
See you later, honey.
Yeah, that's what I say when I'm jogging by people.
1st and 10. They'll start at their own 20. Corey Dillon hit at the line of scrimmage and knocked back. Hugh Douglas right there.
And there's Darnay Scott. He dropped a wide-open pass last week against the Denver Broncos that would have kept the Bengals in the ball game at a very critical junction. Darnay Scott this year has turned down $2 million. And here's the guy, Otis Smith, but Scott has turned down $2 million. He and Smith probably matched up a lot this game. And if the Bengals are to win this ball game, Darnay Scott is going to have to come up big here.
2nd and 9. They stay on the ground. And Dillon with a huge gain. First down across the 30. Otis Smith finally drags him down. An 11-yard pickup.
When you read the Bengals media guide and you look at Corey Dillon's numbers, you see 5.7, 5.9, 6.0 when he was in junior college and at the University of Washington. And you think, well, he can't do it in the pros, but you're watching this guy rip off some big runs. Now, the defense, they don't know this guy. They don't know what his style is, how he runs, what's the best way to hit him. So he's a new thing to them, and they don't know exactly how to deal with it.
The new thing gets a first down. And it's 1st and 10. Blake looking long, going down for Pickens. And it's incomplete. He got tripped up. Pickens and Glenn got their feet tangled up. Pickens screaming for the call.
Yeah, but Pickens doesn't understand that, they're both running down the field, and his size 13's caught up with little Aaron Glenn, size 9, and that's the reason he went down there. Glenn doesn't reach out to get him, but right there you just see, and it's more Pickens. Once Glenn brushes his foot, Pickens' own feet bump up against each other. Now, everybody's booing because that's the role of the hometown fan, to boo when the officials apparently miss a call, but there was no call. That's a good non-call right there.
That's the role of the animals in the jungle.
Exactly.
Not referring to Cincinnati residents. The old nickname of this place. Blake on a handoff, and maybe a yard or two as Dillon gets gang tackled again. Ernie Logan, the initial hit.
Now, this is a critical junction for this team because, the fans were behind them. They booed when they were supposed to. If you don't pick up the first down now, they'll boo when you don't want them to, while you're walking off the field offensively because you haven't picked up your first down. A guy who might become a go-to guy in this situation is David Dunn, number 80, the biggest wide receiver in the NFL right now. He's matched up against Aaron Glenn, one of the smaller cornerbacks in the NFL.
He's the 3rd wide receiver on this 3rd and 8. Blake, incomplete. Victor Green put some pressure on Blake, and he had to get rid of it in a hurry.
Yeah, it's amazing that the blitzes that we see up here in the stands, that the fans see. Jeff Blake, when he's under the center, you only have a microsecond to react to it. In that time, Victor Glenn comes on a blitz. He has to get rid of the ball, but no one has broken free. They didn't have a hot route, so to speak, behind it because it was just one extra guy coming.
Blake 0 for 4 to start. So Lee Johnson back on to punt. Leon Johnson, the 4th-round pick out of North Carolina, a rookie back for the Jets. And he lets it go out of bounds. The Jets will take over. Jets leading 7-0. Got a strong drive there last time. They take over again in their own territory. Back in Cincinnati, follow the NFL season online at NBCSports.com. Check in on clubhouse reports. Read all the latest goings-on with the entire NFL. Plus vote in our poll, which asks who is the NFL's most dangerous kickoff returner. We will get Mr. Lofton's vote on that in a moment. 1st and 10 from their own 15 for the Jets. They lead 7-0. O'Donnell to Corbett. Corbett had it, lost it for a second, got it back. Ashley Ambrose on the tackle as Corbett picks up 3. And a smile.
Yeah, because I have never seen, and you know, I haven't watched every pass he's caught, never seen him juggle a ball. And that time the ball pops out. And he's kind of laughing about it because this is a guy who comes out 2 hours before the game, has somebody throw to him just over and over again, working on his hands. He will not be outworked by anyone who shows up at an NFL training camp anytime for the next 10 seasons.
And as Bill Parcells says, he's no longer an overachiever. He's a legitimate big-time player. Adrian Morrell gets hit right at about the line of scrimmage. Rico McDonald on the tackle.
And we had a nice visit with Rico the other day. And you see that big muscular guy. Can you imagine him? He's from Jamaica in the little white cricket suit. He tried to explain us, you know, the game. You know, you have the little bat, and there are 3 stakes out there, and if you hit it, you get a point. But I just can't see him dressed up in that nice little white outfit and not hitting anyone.
Well, from what I understand, he was a very good cricket player before he decided football had perhaps better opportunities for him. 3rd and 6. O'Donnell again to the shotgun. Big pressure. Corbett has it. Breaks 1 tackle. Breaks another one, but can't get away from a 3rd. McDonald trips him up. And 4th down coming up.
Now that's 2 times in 1 series that Wayne Corbett does not handle the ball cleanly. He doesn't wear gloves. He doesn't have any of the fancy wristbands with his picture on them or advertising a certain product. But he just can't really get that ball tucked away. And when you're in a crowd like that, you really do need to have the ball tucked away. That's one of those old college screens, and you need to send that one back to college.
Brian Hansen sending Greg Myers back to his 27. Myers gets across the 40 and taken down. Dwayne Gordon on the tackle. Excellent field position for the Bengals. 52-yard punt. But Myers gives them a good return. And Cincinnati will take over at the 41. Now, the Bengals have heard the boos in week 1 when they were trailing Arizona before a miraculous 4th quarter comeback. Then they've been on the road. They actually chanted Boomer, number 7 you saw standing there. They chanted Boomer in week 1, despite the fact that Blake was as hot as any quarterback in the NFL in the second half of last season.
And Blake has always been a comeback guy. You know, here you have great field position. Now's the time where you use that one play action pass you've worked over and over and over again in practice.
Blake hands off to Dillon.
Or you want to draw to Dillon.
And Dillon gets up to the 44. I said something earlier. One of the things the coaching staff loves about him is that when he gets hit, he falls forward. And they say by the end of the day, that's a lot of yards. Some guys get hit, fall sideways, fall backwards, but he is so powerful that he always falls forward.
You know, and I hope this doesn't tear this team apart. You know, very engaging young man. But you have Kajana Carter, who's now injured. And that rotator cuff, he's not going to be able to have that forward lean to take on those blows because of his shoulder. And you have this guy who's new. We love him. We didn't spend a lot of money on him, and he's pretty good. You know, you don't want the debate raging as to who to play.
Well, the debate could certainly rage if Dillon continues to run like that. He's got the first down. Jerome Henderson finally took him down. But the Bengals in jet territory. And Carter says he wants to play. Doesn't want to have the surgery that will end his season. Feels he can deal with any kind of pain that the torn rotator cuff can deal him.
Well, for Kajana Carter, sitting out a year, you know, the old saying, been there, done that. And that happened to him his rookie year, hurt during preseason. He doesn't want to not be on the football field because that's the worst feeling for a player.
Eric Bieniemy, the reverse to Carl Pickens. Pickens slowed down by Mo Lewis and taken down. Lewis with a terrific play and a big loss for the Bengals.
You know, at some point, Jeff Blake has to audibilize out of a play because when you end the quarter on a down low like this, everybody's just moping around near the sideline. Carl Pickens, who the Bengals try and run the reverse to, is a good receiver, but he's not a speed guy. You need someone who can really turn the corner and get it wide. And here they just have too many people flanked outside for Jeff Blake to even think about running this play. The smart thing to do, call an audible, just dump the ball to Pickens for a little 2 or 3 yard gain, because you don't want to lose yardage on a trick play.
Instead, they have 2nd and 16. The enemy churning back to about the 49-yard line. Rick Terry makes the tackle. The enemy has not seen a lot of action running the football this season, but again, with Carter out and Dillon not used to carrying the load.
Yeah, you see the enemy trying to stretch his neck. No, he's not trying to look over the lineman. He is one of the smaller players in the league. He's trying to look at the replay board so he can see what went wrong on that play. So, hey, if we call it again, we can correct it right here on the field. Kind of film study while you're playing.
Picked up 3, a 3rd and 13. Blake, pump fakes. Now goes long.
He's got him.
Pickens. Touchdown, Cincinnati. 50-yard scoring strike. And that's his first completion of the afternoon.
It is amazing when Carl Pickens goes up for the ball. It's as if Michael Jordan were driving toward the basket in a celebrity basketball game. No one wants to lay a hand on him. Obviously, the guy is playing the ball instead of Pickens. If I'm the defensive back and I understand that Carl Pickens does nothing but score touchdowns, I try and destroy him as soon as the ball gets there.
And that did happen as Pelfrey the extra point. Rookie Raymond Austin, their 5th-round pick out of Tennessee.
Oh, it's a Tennessee thing. Carl Pickens, Tennessee, Raymond Austin. He probably recruited him to Tennessee. He said, I can't hit that guy. He recruited me, and he was nice to me. You know, you think a guy back there would say, okay, Carl Pickens is on the left side. I'm going to stay there. Jeff Blake does such a good job when he gets in the pocket. He pump fakes to the right. He knows exactly where he's going before the ball is snapped. He reads the coverage. He says, I'm going to get this guy out of center field, and that's a high, deep one. And, of course, Carl Pickens is going to be able to go up and get that ball from him.
That's Pickens' 3rd touchdown reception of the season. It's Blake's 4th touchdown pass of the year. And these two are becoming as dangerous a combo as there is in the NFL. There are a lot of people feel, you know, let's face it, Cincinnati has not been going deep in the playoffs recently, that Pickens may be the best receiver right now in the NFL, with all due respect to the likes of Jerry Rice, etc. In terms of talent and getting it done. He doesn't get the market size here in Cincinnati, that kind of exposure, but he could be the best.
Yeah, and Carl Pickens is not a guy who has an agent out there seeking commercials from him. He doesn't want that. You know, he wants to play football and enjoy that. And you know what else he's going to tell Ken Anderson, the offensive coordinator? He's going to say, Kenny, you know that reverse that we worked on all week long? I never wanted to run it. I'm glad it didn't work. You know, just throw me the ball. And there's Ken Anderson. He's apologizing for calling a reverse right there.
And we're tied at 7. Aaron Glenn at the 5. Glenn across the 30 and tackled from behind. Sam Shade makes the stop at the 32-yard line. 26-yard return. And Neil O'Donnell will take over. Solid drive in their first score, mixing it up nicely. Some play action. Solid running from Adrian Morrell.
It was interesting. I was talking to Neil, and I said, you know, we did the Bengals game when they played against the Baltimore Ravens. And Vinny Testaverde told me a couple things. And Neil said, well, you know, we don't really look at what other people do and try and duplicate it. We do the things that we do well on field.
Morrell trying to make something happen and is thrown for a loss. James Francis and Ashley Ambrose.
You know, Morrell has had such good success popping the ball in one place, bouncing around. That time, when you're right in the middle, you know, if you go wide and then you have to bounce it out a little bit, sometimes that'll work. But when you head it up right in between the guard and the center, very seldom can you then get all the way around the corner. And the Bengal guys are staying at home. They understand what Morrell does well. They're going to stay at home and wait for him to come back in their direction.
Loss of 1. Fans chanting defense here at Synergy Field. O'Donnell has to get rid of it and does to Kyle Brady up to the 43, very close to a first down. A 13-yard pickup.
Yeah, very good job by Neil O'Donnell, because what he understands is he understands how many linemen I have blocking. I said, I got 5 guys blocking. I've got 5 guys out in the route. I'm 1 guy. They've got 6 guys rushing. And that 6 guy is coming to hit me if I take too long in getting rid of the ball. Once again, Bill Parcells drilled that one thing home. Parcells doesn't overcomplicate a player's mind. He'll give him a couple of little tidbits to concentrate on for the game. And so far, Neil O'Donnell is taking those tidbits and doing well with it.
Brady with the first down. Quick throw again, complete. Jeff Graham in Bengal territory.
Was that Neil O'Donnell's run-and-shoot imitation there?
Just could be.
I mean, he's not the most mobile guy in the world, but, okay, we're going to roll him out and see what he looks like. And, that's a play that won't go in any highlight films or any training packages, but they get the job done. And it's a different look for the Bengals. It's something that Dick LeBeau has to say, well, maybe they'll have another adjustment to try and pump and then go deep. So something else they have to defend at halftime and worry about for the second half of the ball game.
Tell you what, O'Donnell scrambled on a key 4th down late in the 4th last week against Oakland when he threw that shovel pass to Morrell. That sealed it for the Jets. Some mobility for the veteran. O'Donnell down to Brady. Incomplete. Off his fingertips, Rico McDonald sticking with the tight end.
Yeah, but this is exactly Bill Parcells' game plan. Play action fake against a very young secondary. Some linebackers who are more aggressive than they are cover oriented. And Brady almost gets his big claw on that one and pulls it back in.
2 tight ends in the game for Parcells, who likes to use that set. John Burke, who was with him with the Patriots, backed up Ben Coates, is in the game along with Brady.
And that 2nd and 1 is kind of a throwaway down. 3rd and 1, you should be able to pick up first down 90% of the time.
Play fake O'Donnell, or a miscommunication. O'Donnell dives to try and get the first down. And it looks like he got it.
I love it when a guy, Neil O'Donnell, he dove, but there was no vertical involved with that dive. It was more like a lean fall. When you dive, you usually move and go somewhere.
How about a downward spiral?
Now, I'm not saying that Neil O'Donnell's not the most athletic guy, because when you talk to people around the league, they'll tell you that Neil O'Donnell's one of the strongest quarterbacks, that you can't intimidate him. He works out in the weight room. But Neil O'Donnell, I would bet you, when he was in high school, never won a foot race.
I think that's a good bet. I'm not going to bet you on that. O'Donnell, by the way, with his passing, has gone over the 15,000-yard career mark. And his leap has the first down. Looks for Corbett. Corbett falls it in at the 24-yard line. Ashley Ambrose there to stop him. A 22-yard pickup as Wayne Corbett with another reception.
Okay, now in the record books, it will go down as a reception for Corbett. But the guy who makes this play go is Jeff Graham, because he is able to clear Ashley Ambrose out of that deep zone just long enough. And as a receiver, when you're the decoy. If you're going deep, you have to bait that guy to actually think that the ball's coming to you. A lot of guys will get too far away from the defensive back. He'll peel off and just plaster the guy going there to the corner underneath.
Corbett's got 4 catches already. Morrell on the ground, breaks the tackle. Down to the 19-yard line. Tremaine Mack able to trip him up. And again, the Jets, their second drive where they've moved the football very well. Kind of like the way Bill Parcells likes to, a little bit of running, a little play fake. And occasionally go down the field as Keyshawn Johnson watches from the sideline.
And that's not good body posture. What that means that you're not open and you're not receptive. And right now, he's not in the ballgame. So, granted, his team is doing well, but he'd like to be in there being part of the action. He had a little nick on his ankle earlier in the ballgame, so that may be the reason he's on the sideline.
2nd down and 6. Morrell hit right away. Maybe a couple of yards. 3rd down coming up. Rico McDonald on the stop.
In a short yardage situation, you would assume that the Jets would want to run the ball behind Jumbo Elliott, a guy who has been around the league for 10 years. He's reunited again with Parcells. It's funny, talking to Jumbo, when he came out of college, out of Michigan, he was a real big guy, 315 pounds. He swelled up to 320, down to about 305. Now he's more Jumbo light than anything else. He's no longer a big lineman. He's an average-sized guy.
Game changes in a short time. 3rd and 4. O'Donnell under some pressure. Lobs it in for Graham. And Graham is out of bounds. Jimmy Spencer with some excellent coverage for the Bengals.
That's a throw that you make to someone that you know very well. This is Neil O'Donnell's second year with the Jets. You know, he's been around Corbett, he's been around Keyshawn, but he spent the most time with Jeff Graham. Neil O'Donnell was 6 years in Pittsburgh. Part of those early years, Jeff Graham was there. You know, Jeff may have lost a step, but he has the desire to make the play. At that time, a lot of leaping ability, nice vertical jump, almost pulls off a touchdown.
An impressive rookie. A fake, John Hall. Hall looking for someone to throw to. Just flips it away. And the Bengals were not fooled. Tremaine Mack putting the pressure on Hall. They faked the 35-yarder. Last week, a fake punt worked well, but there's a penalty marker on the play.
And you see a lot of Jets applauding. There's probably a holding call coming up against the Bengals.
A late flag came in.
Although once he breaks that pocket, you can grab those guys downfield. And that is what James Francis is there arguing about.
So it goes against the Jets.
Did he point the right direction?
Mike Sweatman. The special teams have done so well through the first 4 games of the season. The area that the Jets really needed to improve on.
Holding, number 34, offense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Oh, wait a minute. There's no 34. I think it might be on Mack.
Holding, number 34, defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So now they call it on Tremaine Mack.
And 2 tough calls on Tremaine Mack. First, the pass interference call that resulted in the first Jets touchdown. Now a holding call on a fake field goal attempt. Tremaine Mack, he feels like he's being victimized. He wanted to be well known, but he didn't want to get well known in this manner.
No, sir.
And there's Tremaine Mack. He's out in space. There's no one he's holding, but he got the call.
What are they thinking about?
Yeah. Well, maybe he was just holding up the air.
Mack doesn't understand. Maybe he's thinking, as a rookie, he doesn't know all the rules, but he didn't break any rule on that play. And the Jets apparently get a break. A first down at the 12-yard line. What a bizarre call. This now the 10th play of the drive. Morrell. Adrian Morrell. Touchdown, Jets. Richie Anderson with a key block. And the penalty on Tremaine Mack comes back to haunt the Bengals.
Yeah, let's not put this on Tremaine Mack, but great job blocking on the left side. You mentioned Jumbo Elliott and also Kyle Brady. Kyle Brady does a good job in pinning them back in. Richie Anderson, our combo back, does a fantastic job of kicking out. Morrell runs virtually untouched into the end zone.
You shouldn't say the penalty on Tremaine Mack. You should say the call against Tremaine Mack.
It breaks your heart for a guy like that. He'll go back to the sideline wondering why the call was made against him.
And a controversial call results in 7 points for the Jets. They're not happy in Cincinnati. They trail 14-7.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Gateway 2000, Direct Personal Computers, by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By AT&T, it's all within your reach. And by Subway, the way a sandwich should be.
You know, the real culprit here is not Tremaine Mack, but Sam Shade. He just reaches out and grabs it. That's Tremaine Mack. That's Shade right there. He's the guy who does the holding. Gets the call on 34. 35 gets the hold. Right there you see him grab Baxter. And they both have a hold of each other. Baxter's trying to get away, but Shade gets the call.
So it was a good call. They just had the wrong man. James Hunden has another touchback for the impressive rookie John Hall. Sam Shade was responsible as the Jets scored after that penalty.
He'll be in trouble Monday.
Just a calm, relaxing chat with one of his players during the course of a game.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that conversation.
And that's Raymond Austin, who got burned by Carl Pickens for the lone TD. And there you see Sam Shade, who was really the guilty party of the penalty. You think he's told anyone that he actually did it yet?
I don't think so.
Jeff Blake threw it a little bit behind Corey Dillon, and an incomplete. You know, you've got to feel better as just a football fan. It's unfair when a bad call is made. That was obviously the right call. They just had the wrong number. So you don't feel as bad for the Bengals after that, but you do feel bad for Shade, who can keep it secret till, as you said, until Monday when they look at the film.
But the tough thing for the Bengals is they have been in position to stop this team to only have given up 6 points instead of 14 points, and now they're down 14-7 instead of being ahead 7-6.
2nd and 10. Blake has time, now gets flushed out. And will run out of bounds at the 26. Victor Green makes sure he gets out of bounds. So a 6-yard pickup and a 3rd and 4 coming up for the Bengals.
Yeah, Blake wanted to go to Darnay Scott that time. Darnay Scott tries to run a stop and go on Otis Smith. Darnay Scott looks a little tentative playing today. And granted, you know, he had the big drop last week, but he has to get back in the offense. And Jeff Blake says, you know, I don't point the finger at my guy. You know, it's not my job to chew them out and do all that. They play, I play, we all make mistakes.
Scott's had a few drops so far in the early going this season. Now 3rd and 4. Blake, incomplete. Otis Smith, who struggled all last week with good coverage on Carl Pickens. Pickens has some words with the officials again, but Otis Smith with a solid play.
And Pickens obviously wanted the call here. But once again, if you don't get away from that guy's first jam, I understand he has his arm on him. At some point, the receiver has to win during the route. If you cannot separate from me, you just don't have carte blanche and don't touch me at all. I like it when the defensive backs get up on the guy. See, I always got open.
Yeah, but I don't know if he had an arm on him. There's one wrapped around him.
He was wrapped, but that's the technique they're taught.
Lee Johnson with a poor kick.
Yeah.
And the Jets will have excellent field position. Things going well for the Jets here in the first half. Second quarter, they lead 14-7 with the ball. Second quarter, Cincinnati. Jets lead the Bengals 14-7. And field position, oh so important. The 2 times they've had it, James, they've been able to punch it in.
Yeah, it's that perception thing. You actually believe when you get the ball out near midfield, you can get on your tiptoes, you can see the end zone.
Excellent field position this time. They'll start at their own 46, and O'Donnell overthrows Keyshawn Johnson. Ashley Ambrose right there on the coverage.
See, now that is what causes players to stay up all night long. Now, Keyshawn, he was standing on the sideline. He saw Neil O'Donnell throw a perfect pass to Jeff Gray in the same play. Keyshawn comes in the ball game. He throws it over my head. He doesn't like it. I'm going to have to, put some treats in his locker so I can get back in good stead with it.
What sort of treats does a receiver put in a quarterback's locker?
Anything they ask for.
2nd and 10. Richie Anderson in motion. O'Donnell to Morrell. Morrell hit James Francis, able to grab him by the ankle and slow him down. Renard Wilson then helps out.
You know, Big Daddy was right there. Dan Wilkerson right there. Guys in front of me. I reached my hands out. I beat the block. There I am. I'm here. I got a tackle. I got nothing. And that's right. And he and Copeland are 2 guys who are up for contract this year. And the Bengals are talking about investing $5 or $6 million a year in these 2 guys. And these guys have to become playmakers and do something to earn those bucks.
3rd and 7. Graham's got it. Good for a first down at the 40-yard line. Jimmy Spencer on the coverage, but a 10-yard pickup.
That time, Copeland beats his man at the line of scrimmage. He puts the pressure on Neil O'Donnell. Believe me, when you get in the huddle and you put good pressure on somebody, you force them to throw early, you wonder what they're doing back in the secondary. Why are these guys playing so soft? I mean, I'm up there hitting this guy in the gut. At least we can do is get some tight coverage back in the secondary because it's not, you can't separate the 2. You don't separate coverage from pressure.
They mark the ball at the 39. Adrian Morrell gets the handoff and gets maybe a yard or 2. Ambrose forcing him. And the Bengal defense, I think their pride has been wounded a little bit, again with the numbers in terms of where they rank in the NFL. But the 3-4 defense instituted by Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator, it's still the growing pains. I know the fans here in Cincinnati are sick and tired of hearing, hey, they need some time to develop, but It is a very difficult scheme to pick up.
I think LeBeau is frustrated in that no one has really stepped up to become the playmaker in that group.
It's difficult because there's so many assignments. Not that it's all that complicated. There's just a lot of it. Burrell leaps over a couple of players, gets down to the 31-yard line. It'll be about a 3rd and 2 coming up for the Jets. Brenson Buckner makes the tackle.
You know, every defensive player gets blocked. The good players don't stay blocked. That time you look at the Bengals after the play is over, I see 4 or 5 defensive players getting up off the ground, kind of a casual manner. If you get blocked and you pop up and you're hustling, you're diving on top of the pile, that intimidates the offense. Right now, the tempo of this game, the interior, the trench is being won by the New York Jets offensive line.
And they've opened it from Morel, who has 74 yards rushing thus far. But does not get the first down this time. John Copeland right there to make the tackle, along with Rico McDonald.
Obviously, Copeland has the little transistors in his helmet, and he heard that, you know, we were criticizing him a little bit on his play. You get everyone pursuing down the line of scrimmage. Copeland does a good job. That play's away from Copeland. It's real easy to quit on a play like that. You realize it's going the other direction. Say, okay, it's going to Big Daddy's side. I'll let him make the tackle that time. Copeland hustles down the line of scrimmage to the stop.
Bill Parcells will go for it on 4th down. He's gone for it 9 times and has made it 7 times already through the first 4 games. Neil O'Donnell and goes right into it.
Yeah, and that's a silent count. They know exactly what they're going to do. You get everyone set. You spread it out with 5 exterior wide receivers, and you get Neil O'Donnell, who's big, spends a lot of time in the weight room, 6'3", 228 pounds, can probably lift you and I up a few times. He just pierces right in there for the first down. And there's Bill Parcells going, yeah, that's the one I call. You know, head coaches aren't responsible for a lot of stuff, but they're responsible for whether or not you go for it on 4th down.
And he's now 8 of 10 on 4th down calls. They throw it out to Richie Anderson, and Anderson gets down to the 23. Got away from Greg Myers, who had him behind the line of scrimmage before taken down by Renard Wilson.
You know, Greg Myers is the free safety on this team, and as the free safety, you become the last line of defense. Last week, Terrell Davis burst through the defensive line. He had 1 guy to beat for a touchdown. It was Greg Myers. Greg Myers has to be able to come up, set his feet, and make tackles. He's a real long cut guy with long legs. He has to be able to get his feet under him and place a hat on somebody. It's one thing to play center field and look nice back there, but you have to come up and make tackles.
He's in his 2nd year. Tremaine Max in his 1st year. So the safeties with a lot to learn. Good pursuit that time as Morel goes nowhere, but the penalty marker comes in after the play. And it's going to go against the Jets.
And they threw it right at Roger Duffy. You know, the offensive lineman's dream. Throw the flag at me. Tell everybody at home I'm not doing my job.
62, offense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It's worse if you actually get hit with it.
and, you know, you can see a guy's body language change. There's Roger Duffy right in the middle of the line. The play's going away from it, and Roger just tries to get out there and get Chemo down. And unfortunately, he has his arms in the blocking position, but he clutches him around Chemo's legs.
I'll tell you what, though, Roger Duffy has no reason to be upset at all. He's been the senior member of the Jets. No one has been through tougher times. Bill Parcells is his 4th coach in 5 years. This guy, no one more ecstatic to have Parcells come on and bring this winning attitude in than Roger Duffy.
So you're saying that
yes, he's happy.
The other coaches didn't have winning attitudes? we don't want to list them, do we?
Don't get me in trouble. And they blow the whistles with 3:21 remaining. So we'll take a break. Bill Parcells with a reason to smile. His team playing well here in the first half. Neil O'Donnell in the Jets lead. O'Donnell, he's not overly flashy. Perhaps not a Hall of Fame quarterback, but there's something about him. He gets the job done. He's done a little of everything thus far.
Yeah, he's spreading the ball around. He's keeping the Bengals off balance. They don't know where the ball's going.
The 2nd and 16 and under pressure. And he's run. Throws it away. Keyshawn Johnson was in the vicinity. Bo Orlando right behind him. But O'Donnell flushed out of the pocket. And right now, let's go back to New York. An update with Greg Gumbel. Greg?
All right. right, Mike, in Kansas City, Seattle jumped off to a 10-0 lead. Here comes Marcus Allen from 8 yards out. Career touchdown number 136 with the extra point. The Chiefs pulled within a field goal, 10-7 at the 2-minute warning for the first half, Mike.
Thank you, Greg. And Marcus Allen, who will turn 67 next week. Still doing the job.
It's the football years, you added up that. He probably is 67 in dog years.
3rd and 16. Leon Johnson barrels down to the 26. Well short of the first down, and John Hall, the rookie, will come on for a field goal attempt. James Francis makes the tackle.
Yeah, the Bengals do a real nice job on this last play. They get 5 guys up around the line of scrimmage, and it looks like blitz, but they only bring 4 guys, and everyone stays at home because 3rd and 16, that's a lot of yardage to pick up through the ground. What you don't want to do, you don't want to give up that quick, easy draw play up the middle and have the guy run all the way to the goal line because you got everyone running back in coverage chasing wide receivers.
See Hall's numbers. 2 of those 40-plus, or actually 50-plus. This one will be a 44-yard field goal. And Jerry Markbright calls the timeout, or the Jets call a timeout for Mr. Markbright. A former offensive guard, Jerry Markbright, at the University of Illinois, believe it or not.
He doesn't look it. He slimmed down, very nice. And see, he has to keep track of how many timeouts have been called during the course of the ball game. He's looking around, he's saying, okay, now I left tickets for that guy, Bob. I hope he shows up, and I hope he's having a good time.
42nd year of officiating, 22nd in the NFL. He's an author, wrote a book about 10 years ago in the running for a Pulitzer, but did not win. But one of the outstanding officials. Next Sunday, exciting NFL action continues. Doubleheader beginning at 12 noon Eastern with the NFL on NBC. As Sam Weiss continues to get comfortable with the rest of that group. Game 1, most of you see the Chiefs take on the Dolphins. And, of course, the Jets will be in Indianapolis. We'll see you next Sunday at the Hoosier Dome.
That's inside, right, the dome?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I don't have to bring any raincoat or park or anything like that.
Hall with a 44-yarder. No problem. He is absolutely amazing. As John Hall now 10 of 12 in his rookie season. And the Jets now lead 17-7. The offense doing an excellent job here in the first half. Jets leading 17-7. We said at the top, the perception of the Jets in such a short time around the NFL has turned around. They keep playing like this, it's going to get even worse.
Yeah, the perception has changed because of the performance on the field. And the Bengals really are mystifying me. This is a team that has a lot of elements offensively, but really they've run the ball just a little bit, but throwing the football, they've only come up with 1 play, and that's the touchdown to Pickens. They need to be able to pick apart the Jets secondary, but they're playing up tight on the guys, and they haven't been able to crack them yet.
And perhaps most importantly, the defense not doing their job. Line drive, James Hunden fumbles it at the 4. Hunderson with excellent speed gets up to about the 24-yard line. Marcus Coleman and Lorenzo Neal on the tackle. And Jeff Blake once again will have to come from behind to get a victory, and he has started off slow. That one pass was a beauty, the Carl Pickens touchdown. But Blake is used to that. Last year, a lot of come-from-behind wins. They already had one in Week 1 against Arizona, so it's something he's accustomed to, but Bruce Coslett is tired of having to do it.
But what you don't want to be if you're Jeff Blake, you don't want to become known as a streak quarterback, somebody who has to hit 6, 7, 8, 9 in a row to get your team down the field. He wants to become more consistent. He talked about the 65% completion pass that he wants to have during the course of the season. Nowhere near it right now.
Blake, the enemy, dives out of bounds at about the 31-yard line. Otis Smith forcing him out there. Just a little over 2 minutes remaining here in the second quarter.
Now he didn't know that was Eric Bieniemy out there. He thought maybe that was Corey Dillon, who's almost 6'1" out there. He stretched Bieniemy out about as far as he can stretch that guy out. And Bieniemy's a veteran. He knows that there are times when you have to come up and make the play.
So we have the 2-minute warning. Bengals undefeated at home since Bruce Coslett took over last season, but they're in a 17-7 hole. 2-minute warning, and the Jets leading 17-7. As we keep talking about what the Jet offense has done, the Jet defense has really done an excellent job on Jeff Blake, who's just 1 of 7 throwing the football.
But see, this is where you and I differ. If you're the defensive coordinator here, you play the prevent defense. What I do is I try and get the ball back for my offense because my team has momentum now. If I let the Bengals go down the field and get 3 or maybe 7 points on me, it takes a little bit of air out of my team. And on the road, you want to keep the home team down if you can.
Let me tell you something. We differ on a lot more than that. 2nd and 2. Dillon and Bieniemy in the backfield. Blake looks downfield. Complete. David Dunn breaks a tackle. Breaks another one and gets up to midfield.
I had mentioned earlier that David Dunn is the biggest wide receiver in the NFL, and Ray Mickens, believe it or not, is the smallest cornerback in the NFL. Well, maybe a little bigger than Eric McMillan, but he's tiny compared to Dunn. Dunn is 225 pounds, and you just can't match those two guys up. Look at Mickens is there to make the tackle. He just bounces off, and Glenn, Victor Green is one of the hardest hitting strong safeties in the league. He just bounces off of Dunn. Dunn just pivots. He does a good job in not pushing the guy off. It's very tempting to push the defensive back off.
And the Bengals take the timeout, so they have 1 remaining. Jet defense overall has done a good job. Len Berman, let's go down to you on the field. Jet defense has looked impressive thus far.
Well, Mike, you mentioned the defense a moment ago. Remember last week against Oakland, the Jet defense didn't allow a point in the second half, and now through nearly another half of football, they've allowed 1 bomb. So in 4 quarters of football, it's just 1 50-yard pass for a touchdown. That's pretty good D.
And also, Len, you remember back in Seattle, when you were at that game, they also stopping the Seahawks cold that entire game. 1st and 10 off the Dunn reception. And whistle. Flags on the play. False start against the Bengals.
False start, number 60, offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Rod Jones, the left tackle, who has struggled this year.
And Rod Jones is matched up against Hugh Douglas, who is their best pass rusher. Rod, you hate to call a guy a weak link, but if you line up 5 guys, you've got the best offensive lineman, and you have a guy who's the 5th offensive lineman. And right now, Rod Jones is their 5th offensive lineman.
Did you say weakling or weak link?
Link.
Oh, all right.
Because he's not a weak link.
1st and 15. Blake flushed out by Douglas. Fires. Intercepted. Ray Mickens with his 3rd interception of the season.
And it's exactly what Blake told us he didn't want to do. He said, when I scramble, I don't want to make the poor decision. That time he tries to throw back across his body. And when you do that, when you throw the ball late down the middle, Blake is flushed out to his right. He's going to throw the ball back. And Dunn has his hand up. I'm open. I'm open. The ball's not thrown out in front of him.
Ray Mickens continues to have a terrific season. Again, that's 3 interceptions. And remember, he returned that blocked field goal for the winning touchdown last week against Oakland.
See, the problem there is Dunn is so big, and it had Mickens in his shadow, and his Dunn's shadow is so big you couldn't even see Mickens. And so I don't blame Blake for that one. He couldn't see the little tiny Mickens.
Well, even Parcells calls Mickens a nifty little guy. The nifty little guy comes up with another play. Jets with plenty of time here as O'Donnell once again overthrows Keyshawn Johnson.
And Keyshawn's really steaming now. He says, you threw it to Jeff Graham. You put it right on his numbers. There you go, stretching me out again. Neil, I'm going to take back everything I said about you in my book.
Now, do you think maybe you're reading a little too much into this?
I don't know. I have an active imagination.
So the Jets still with 2 timeouts remaining.
I'm surprised if the Jets are in kind of a conventional formation. They have 2 tight ends in, 1 running back, and 2 wide receivers.
2nd and 10. O'Donnell this time overthrows somebody else besides Keyshawn. It's John Burke, the tight end. And, of course, coming up, Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. Greg Gumbel, Sam Weiss, Chris Collinsworth, and Jim Kelly, who got in some great shots on Collinsworth in the pregame show. They'll bring you all the scores and highlights of today's action around the league.
You just remember that Chris will have the last word. Chris, he's been on that studio gig a long time. Jim, he's popping in for 1 week. They will burn him before the afternoon is over.
I tell you what, he held his own very well. And we'll talk about the Ryder Cup. Wrap that up as well.
Now 3rd down, who do you throw the ball to?
Mr. Crevette, usually the guy. There you go. Wayne Crevette at the 42, right at the 1st down marker. Ashley Ambrose right there, and Crevette once again The 11-yard pickup and good for a first down.
And I'm just shaking my head because Ashley Ambrose is their best cover corner. And then you add Trumaine Mack, who's playing the robber in the middle of the field. You get both those guys in there. You know, the way you catch that ball is right before the ball gets there, you close your eyes and you hope it sticks. And Wayne comes across, he keeps his route nice and flat, and there are 6 sets of hands there, and Corbett comes down with the ball.
You know, the problem is he has set such a standard that it's almost you expect him to haul those in. And, you know, Rich Kotite, who has really taken a lot of heat in the last couple of years with his rough start with the New York Jets. There's no question about it. Kotite did not get it done with the Jets, but the Jet fans should thank Rich Kotite for making sure Wayne Corbett made the team as a rookie free agent and putting him in the starting lineup and giving him the opportunity to become what he is today.
Well, we will chalk that one up for Rich Kotite, and in the column now he has 1 on the positive ledger for him as the Jet coach.
And the Jets with 1 timeout remaining. They lead 17-7. Corbett having a very strong first half.
You're at the ideal space in the field for an out and up right here. You have 51 yards of field to work with when you add the 10 yards of end zone. Keyshawn is covered one-on-one.
Here's the blitz, and O'Donnell gets it away. Keyshawn Johnson hauls it in at the 31. That's his first reception, and that's going to be good for a first down.
Now, Keyshawn Johnson gets criticized for everything that he does in a Jet uniform, and here he will be criticized for not being able to run after the catch. But what he does is he secures the ball, and we talked about Dick LeBeau says if a quarterback is going to beat you, he's going to beat you going down. And that time, we put a lot of pressure on him to get him off his feet, but he still gets the completion.
He brushes up and gets right back up. And Keyshawn Johnson incomplete. Jimmy Spencer right there on the coverage. Johnson has had problems earlier this season staying in bounds, but that one, again, a little too high, it appears.
And I talked to him about this, and what I noticed about him is that a lot of times along the sideline, Keyshawn Johnson will want to catch the ball in his body. If you extend your hands, that makes your body longer. See, that ball is not caught in his hands. It's more along the wrist. If you put your hands up, and that makes your body longer, so your feet actually get bigger as your body gets longer. You understand that?
Did he accept all this advice?
No, he didn't take any of the advice.
No,
he makes a lot more money than I do.
Quite frankly, I don't blame him. 2nd and 10. Still a timeout remaining for the Jets. O'Donnell complete to Keyshawn Johnson at the 28. But no, they say he juggled it. Incomplete. And Johnson slams the ball down. And, of course, the crowd loves it.
And we get a flag. You know, Keyshawn Johnson here is probably the 3rd or 4th guy in the progression. You know, it looked to me where he had them. Keyshawn probably felt like he had an easy catch there. The official doesn't rule on the catch. There's a conference going on now. The Jets have already marched back to 15 yards because they're assuming that he is going to get flagged for unsportsmanlike.
So Jerry Markwright will tell us.
There is no foul for taunting. No foul.
Oh, he thought it was for taunting.
It looks like, I mean, he slammed the ball down, but...
No, yeah, I mean, you can't taunt somebody if you don't make the play.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you know, that's, if anything, it's unsportsmanlike conduct, not taunting. Yeah, I don't think you taunt someone when you make a 2-yard catch.
I don't think you call taunting on the official. Again, it's unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, but a good job by the officials and their crew to get together and discuss why the flag was thrown and decide to pick it up.
In-game conference.
Yep.
And I have a feeling Johnson, who thought he was going to get flagged for that, will probably be a little more reserved next time.
And it's amazing that they picked up the flag on the sidelines where Bill Parcells stands.
3rd and 10. Jets leading 17-7 here in the final minute of the first half. O'Donnell. Wayne Corbett again. All the way down to the 12-yard line. Good for a first down.
Okay, I'm not counting, but that's another tackle that Greg Myers didn't come up and make. Granted, you know, Corbett's a shifty little guy and all that. You got to come up and put the wood on the guy.
And O'Donnell will stop the clock. 20 seconds remaining as Corbett falls in his 6th catch here of the first half.
And it's the same pattern that he ran earlier. He's lined up against Ashley Ambrose. So you have the matchup that you want if you're the Bengals. And right here, no, you got to keep your eyes open, son. You know, you don't come up, put your head down. Corbett's not a big guy. You know, you've been reading about him a lot in the newspapers, but he's not a mythical man. You come up and you make this tackle, and that's a poor job of tackling by Greg Myers.
So Corbett has the Jets with a 2nd and 10 after O'Donnell just spiking the ball. They still have a timeout remaining. O'Donnell has time. Touchdown, Keyshawn Johnson. His 2nd touchdown reception of the season. And the Jets really putting it to the Bengals here in the first half.
Keyshawn Johnson will enter the screen and just cross. And right here you have Greg Myers and the other safety, Tremaine Mack. They're both waiting for Corbett to come across underneath. And they give no help. No help to Spencer.
And once again, Bill Parcells' team takes a turnover and turns it into points. John Hall makes it 24-7. Boos from the Bengal fans.
But the exact thing that I talked about, the Bengals had the ball. The Jets play them tough defensively. They get the turnover. They turn it into points. And really, they have them where they want them going in at halftime. These two safeties are responsible for the middle of the field. It's as if they're afraid to go into the end zone here in their coverage. They both creep up. There's no one to cover. Keyshawn Johnson sneaks in right behind them.
And Neil O'Donnell.
And Corey Sawyer, it has to be frustrated because you have a 4 across the board zone. You're supposed to have some inside help, and those guys are down there where they had no need to be.
O'Donnell's success here in Cincinnati continues. Now in the season, O'Donnell 9 touchdown passes, just 2 interceptions. He's thrown a TD pass in every game but Oakland, and he threw the 2 interceptions in 1 game, so he has been pretty much mistake-free.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that people will tell you about Neil O'Donnell is he won't beat himself. Coming into the season, he had a career thing of 2.2 passes intercepted. Coming into today's ball game, he's around 1%. So this is typical football by Neil O'Donnell.
David Dunn is back at the 1. Chase from behind. Ray Mickens tackles him from behind at the 17-yard line. 16-yard return. And the Bengals with 9 seconds remaining, and they still have 1 timeout. Yeah. What does he do? Does he kneel down?
Well, the tough thing about this is you try and avoid the boos and the beer cans when you go in at halftime.
Well, they've heard the boos, and with Blake, I'm sure some of the boos sound like Boomer because the fans were chanting Boomer, the backup quarterback, Boomer Esiason, in week 1, and if this continues, they'll hear more of it. Esiason also a former Jet, of course. And they're getting ready. Before the play is done, they're starting.
Yeah, the fans know this. This is normally your victory formation, but not when you're down at halftime.
Jets dominating here in the first half in Cincinnati. Neil O'Donnell with 2 touchdown passes. The defense sharp, and they lead 24-7. Let's go to Greg Goebel now in New York. Halftime in Cincinnati, and the Jets dominating the Bengals 24-7. Our Coors Light halftime stats. It is all New York. As again, their offense marching down the field, the defense doing the job as well. But the key one, certainly James Lofton, time of possession.
Yeah, time of possession is big, but it has to be distressing for the Cincinnati Bengals defense to realize that they've tried the blitz, they've tried this, they've tried that. Nothing has worked. 260 yards of offense. They're going to get close to 500 yards of offense in this ballgame if they can't stop them at some point.
And of course, the key for the Giant offense is always the offensive line. And this is a particular defense that can be difficult to pick up, but the offensive line has really done a good job.
Yeah, the zone blitz, you think about something that not only causes you problems when you're trying to protect the passer, but also when you're trying to run the football. But Adrian Morrell, he's bounced it around a couple of times, and he's been active enough where the big defensive linemen have had to chase him. Now they're starting to get tired. Now, if that happens, then Neil O'Donnell will just pick them apart defensively.
The Bengals will receive the start here in the second half. John Hall does it again. This guy is unbelievable. Len Berman had a chance to speak with both coaches. Len?
All right, Mike. Bruce Kozlitz said our defense was just awful. We couldn't stop them. He said he's very unhappy about that. Obviously, he didn't want to blame anything on the penalties. As for Bill Parcells, he says he is worried about the way that Jeff Blake can improvise. He said they were down to the Cardinals the same way and came back and won it. He said the Jets will stay aggressive, Mike. Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys for Bill Parcells is he talks about molding this young football team and getting them to learn not to lose football games. You know, you can learn to win, but learn not to lose when you have a big lead like this that happened.
The Bengals, as we said earlier, they've come from behind quite a bit with Jeff Blake at the helm. Corey Dillon gets the pass. Marvin Jones takes him down at about the 27-yard line. So a second and 3 coming up. And Blake has the confidence to turn it around.
Yeah, and like any good player, what you do is you put the pass behind you. And Jeff Blake is really going to have to put those first half numbers behind him. 3 out of 10. They had the one big play. Now get consistent. Find the check down receivers if they're taking your big play guys away.
And the one interception led to a Jets score. O'Donnell was terrific. And Brian Milne gets his first carry of the afternoon. And it looks like he has enough for a first down. Milne, the second-year fullback out of Penn State, doesn't get the ball all that often, but moves the chains that time for the Bengals as Pepper Johnson makes the tackle. And O'Donnell, again, the key stat, 0 interceptions.
The thing for Neil O'Donnell now, you saw his eyes, kind of like, you know, he had the eyes of a fighter. He has to stay focused because in your head, things are going well. You know, it's time to wave to friends in the stands. You know, stay focused on the ball game.
Corey Dillon gets hit after about a 1-yard pickup. Marvin Jones right there with the initial hit. And Hugh Douglas as well.
You know, the Jets tried to start this season with the 4-3 defense. And, you know, granted, you have Hugh Douglas, who's one good lineman. The other guys, you know, Ernie Logan, Rick Lyle, Ronnie Dixon, not really household names. But you look at the linebacker core. You have Mo Lewis coming back, Pepper Johnson, Marvin Jones. Those are pretty good guys. And then you draft Barry, the #1 guy. And you have to get him in the ballgame. So you've got good linebackers. Let's switch to the 3-4.
And the linebackers, especially Lewis and Jones, have played exceptionally well. Milne gets hit right away and knocked down as James Farrier, the rookie who we were just talking about, comes up with the play.
Farrier's nickname is what, Potsy? And we're thinking, you know, Potsy Weber. And he says, well, when he was a kid, I had a pot belly, so they called me Potsy. And he assured us that it wasn't Potsy Weber from Happy Days.
He made sure that we were aware that was not a nickname he wanted to be affiliated with.
And when you put he and Douglas on the same side, I mean, that is such a speed combination. And Hugh Douglas is very fast, and this guy doesn't have a waistline at all, Farrier.
And he forces the Bengals into a 3rd and 16. Blake has time and complete up to the 38-yard line.
Ooh, I didn't like the way that looked right there.
Well, Pickens the catch. It's shy of the first down. 13-yard pickup. And the fans wanting him to go. And it looks like he's got it.
Bruce Kozlitz going for it. You see that one leg come down, and he comes down on his left leg, and he's getting driven back. That's the fact that, you know, everyone, you gulp in your throat a little bit when that happens.
Bengals here early 3rd.
Blake can run for this right up the middle, just like Neil O'Donnell did.
4th and 2. They trail 24-7. Blake will throw. No, Blake will run. Blake has the first down, but a penalty marker is thrown on a play as Blake slides up to midfield, and it will go against the Bengals.
Yeah, against Rod Jones. You know, Rod Jones is walking around now. He has his shirt tail out, looking a little sloppy. What that does is that draws attention to him. Dressed like everybody else. Get this thing in.
Offense. 10-yard penalty. 4th down.
You get that jersey in, and the officials won't see you. You know, when you're not dressed like everybody else, they see you grab everyone. It is right there on the top of your screen. And he has Hugh Douglas blocked originally, right there. Now I have him blocked, and all of a sudden Jeff Blake turns the corner. You know, Hugh Douglas starts complaining, and he gets the benefit of the doubt there.
Douglas looked like he was talking to the referee, rather worried about trying to get Blake. It didn't look like he had too strong a hold there.
Not much holding at all.
And Lee Johnson, a beautiful kick. Leon Johnson back at the 19. And runs out about Corey Sawyer, takes him out. And the Jets will take over. 52-yard punt for Lee Johnson, but the Bengals still trail 24-7.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by the 1998 Honda Accord, an Accord like no other. By MetLife, get Met, it pays. By Coca-Cola Classic, always the real thing, always Coca-Cola. And by Best Western, across the street from ordinary.
Sue Malamala cut last Saturday, then re-signed on Monday, starting on Sunday and doing an excellent job.
And not a bad job for a guy. You know, look at Neil O'Donnell. If we were playing on grass, his jersey would still be clean, but this guy's doing a good job for somebody who was eating hot dogs and drinking beer last Sunday.
He was back on a 93 team as a starter. As Adrian Morrell goes nowhere, Tremaine Mack quickly makes the tackle in the backfield.
You know, this is such a young ball club. You look at the two safeties, and a lot of guys up front. Who's going to step up and be the difference maker? You know, the guys who you would expect, Copeland, Wilkinson, they can't get it done all by themselves. They are 3-4 defensive ends, which means that they're not out on the corner every play. They're playing that gap technique where they have to provide for the linebackers to make plays. And when a guy like Mack is coming up doing something in the backfield, that's impressive.
2nd and 14. O'Donnell a handoff, Richie Anderson, and Anderson scampers all the way up to the 44-yard line. Good for a first down. Mack hangs on as Anderson will move the chains for the Jets.
Even when you blitz, you have to see what's happening in front of you. The Bengals decide to blitz. Everyone has a gap. This guy has to make the play. Don't just commit and say, okay, I'm going to be blocked. You have to run through the block, get to the ball carrier, commit yourself a little more, not expect somebody else on the team to make the tackle, to make the play.
Roger Duffy and Leon Johnson with excellent blocks on that run. So a first down at their own 43. Jets will certainly run the ball quite a bit with this lead. O'Donnell falls down. Morrell taken down after maybe a yard. Rico McDonald makes the tackle.
You know, you're getting guys who are they make one play on first down, and they celebrate a little bit, and then all of a sudden they get creased on second down. You need the same intensity, play in and play out. You don't say, okay, I made the tackle on first down, who's going to do it now on second down? All 11 guys have to commit to stopping this. A couple of weeks ago, we had the Buffalo Bills. We're talking to their linebackers, and they said everybody has to get to the play. Everybody has to want to be there.
Again, Morrell breaks a couple of tackles and gets down to the 43-yard line of the Bengals, and more boos. Tremaine Mack is now starting to make too many tackles.
Boos and a lot of guys standing around with their hands on their hips, kind of wondering what's happening. You look at the front seven, those guys need to be involved in plays. I mean, Adrian Morrell is a great back. He'll rush for 100 yards today, and Bill Parcells said, I want to get this guy on track. And the Bengals are giving this guy every opportunity to have a big ball game against him.
So Morrell already over 80 yards for the day. And another first down. He's got 4.3 yards per carry. Morrell tripped up Jimmy Spencer, slowed him down at about the 38-yard line. Keyshawn Johnson helping up his teammate.
Yeah, and Keyshawn did a fine job in blocking. And you're playing wide receiver, you catch a lot of passes, and you do the dance in the end zone and all that. People see that. But here's Keyshawn Johnson, and he's going to come inside and block on a strong safety. And one thing to block on a corner, because those guys are just like you. But that time, he just lays Greg Myers out. And Greg Myers is kind of becoming the victim of this defense. He can't make tackles when he's supposed to, and then you get knocked down by a little foo-foo wide receiver.
Johnson is a very good blocker. 6 straight rushing play as Morrell down to the 34-yard line. All right, now I want to know, first off, how you spell foo-foo and what exactly is the definition of foo-foo.
Foo-foo, if you look up wide receiver in a dictionary, you'll see foo-foo right next to it. Foo-foo means that, you know, most of the time you want to catch outs and comebacks and posts and stuff in the end zone. But Johnson is a big physical guy. And I was joking with him today on the field. I said, you know, the New York paper printed that after the catch, you've only gotten 2.2 yards per catch, run after the catch. He said, yeah, but you let somebody get in my way, and I'll run him over. I'll knock him down. So he regards himself as a physical player. He's a tough foo-foo receiver.
On third down, Morrell gets up to the first down. As Adrian Morrell continues to be the workhorse on this drive. So you are a former foo-foo then?
I'm a former foo-foo guy. And you know what you look for in the secondary? You look for somebody who you can pound. And every secondary has, you have 4 guys back there, but everybody's not equally tough. And Tremaine Mack, who's really their tough guy, is actually now limping off the field. He's the most physical guy that they have in their secondary. You know, Greg Myers is your traditional deep center fielder, and that's where you want to leave him. He can play the pass, not a great tackler. If you leave him back in center field, if he just to do his job back there, he's fine.
So the Jets' best part of this drive, taking a lot of time off the clock as Keyshawn Johnson makes the reception and quickly hit by Jimmy Spencer. But they didn't say he knocked him out, so the clock continues to move. 6.5 remaining, third quarter, 24-7. And it's starting to get very, very quiet here in Cincinnati.
I would say that the best part about watching film for the Jets on Monday will be that they dominated the offensive line. You know, Bill Parcells, you know, might not be excited about some of the minor details of this ball game, but when they lost to the Buffalo Bills in week 2 or 3, they were just decimated. Neil O'Donnell was run over, almost reported dead. This game they protected him very well.
Morrell kind of dives forward to try and get the first down. He's very close. And it looked like Molly Calalay actually tripped him up. And we'll see if they break. No, they're short of the first down. Morrell has now gone over the 100-yard mark. 24 carries, 101 yards.
He's in danger now. You know, you toss him the ball, you run that sweep, and he'll lose 3 or 4 on us.
He's now silenced the crowd. It's like, I feel like we should be announcing like Ryder Cup. It's so quiet.
3rd and 2 at the 24.
Morrell's got the first down and more as he gets to the 19-yard line. And this is exactly what Bill Parcells wanted from their first drive of the second half. Brinson Buckner on the tackle.
You know, at some point, though, Parcells said this early in the season. He said, you know, I'm going to work Morrell, but I'm not going to work him to death. And you see him pumping his fist. But he also has to realize that you don't wear your backs out unnecessarily. So you win on this drive. You get in the end zone, you spot play Morrell for the rest of the ball game.
11th play of the drive that's taking a lot of time off the clock here in the third. Again, Morrell. And he's hit from behind. Rico McDonald did a good job of pursuit there, and maybe a yard loss.
See, when I watched Morrell bounce out that time, he didn't have the same quickness that he did in the first quarter. I mean, he's rushed for 100 yards. You see him glancing toward the sideline there as if to say, okay, guys, you know, you've been handing me the rock quite often, and I can make something happen now and then, but you know, give me a breather. Get me out of the ball game so that when I come in, I'm fresh.
Something tells me, though, Bill Parcells is one coach you really don't say that to.
You don't tell Bill to let you out the ball game?
No.
But he has to be able to gauge that in his ball players, and he's learning about this team. They've only been together 5 weeks.
Right, he continually says that. O'Donnell throws it away. And he's flushed out by Renard Wilson, and there's the flag. He was still in the pocket.
Because the pocket goes all the way back to the other goal line, and he did not get away from that tackle-to-tackle zone.
He's going to plead his case with Mark.
There's no foul for grounding. The quarterback was out of the pocket.
Now they say he was at it. Apparently he moved just enough left.
Now the pocket works this way. This is the pocket. Now as long as he's within that little frame right there, he's going to go back. This ball has to go beyond the line of scrimmage. Now he moves a little bit, but I still think he's right behind where the left tackle lined up.
Very close. Jets get the break, so they have 3rd and 9. 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers now as Wayne Corbett comes in.
Now, if you're the Bengals, you just cover everybody because you haven't been able to get to them with your blitz.
Here comes the blitz. They hand off to Leon Johnson. And Johnson gets down to about the 17-yard line. Ashley Ambrose trips him up. And 4th down, and John Hall will come on.
Now, they've already tried their fake once. I don't think they go to the well again.
No, I don't think so either. Hall received the best compliment you can get from Bill Parcells. Parcells says, I haven't paid too much attention to him.
I thought the best compliment is you're hired.
That happened a few months ago. He took a chance on the rookie free agent from Wisconsin. And he has been just terrific. 36-yarder. And this one no good. Hall has been so steady, but that time it was wide right. The concerned Bill Parcells.
I think there's a distance for kickers where sometimes you're real strong. This time he just doesn't follow through and leaves that ball hanging out wide right.
He's going to pay some attention to him now. Off the missed field goal, Bengals get it back. 1st and 10 at their own 26. Blake will throw. And Blake taken down. Rick Lyle with his 3rd sack of the season and the first Jet sack this afternoon. And perhaps one of the biggest Jet fans in attendance, who led them to the Super Bowl victory over the Colts, Weave Eubank, who is the only coach to win championships in both the NFL and the AFL, 90 years old, and still going strong.
And you know, he was a pioneer. You talk about all the coaches now and wanting the power. He was head coach and general manager, and that was before guys thought about, you know, wanting to run their own show.
2nd and 21 off the Lyle sack. Blake throws, intended for Dunn, and it's incomplete, and more boos. He didn't hear a lot of boos when he was head coach, especially back in '69 when Joe Namath led them. He coached the Colts to victory in '58 and '59. And then the next stop after the Colts was New York. And that stunning win with number 12, Weave Eubank. Still such a huge fan for the Jets. Now lives in Oxford, Ohio. Been married 71 years to the lovely Lucy Eubank.
Teenage bride.
That's right.
She was very, very young when they were 16.
They met when he was in college at 3rd and 21. Blake flushed out, chased down and tripped up by Chad Cascadden. And more of the boos coming up.
And you can see Jeff Blake's frustration. But really the anatomy of that non-drive. You get sacked on 1st down. 2nd and 21. The mentality of the quarterback should be get half the yardage back so that you're faced with a 3rd and 10. Jeff Blake went downfield, tried to get the whole thing back on 2nd down, and there just aren't enough plays in the playbook to gain 21 yards.
So Lee Johnson back on, Leon Johnson back to return. Jeff Blake has not had many days like this since he became the starting quarterback here. High kick but short. Leon Johnson a fair catch at the 44-yard line. A 40-yard punt. But there's a penalty marker on the play.
And of course, it's against the Bengals, though.
Way back at the 12-yard line. Jerry Markwright says, come on this way, guys.
Holding, number 59, offense. 10-yard penalty.
Al Roberts, the special teams coach.
Half the distance to the goal, 4th down.
Who was also special teams coach with Bruce Coslett when he was with New York with the Jets.
There's Truitt, and last week Truitt was victimized. They have a snap against Denver that just sails over Lee Johnson's head. Johnson gets the ball off with only a 2-yard punt on the play, and really that play combined with the Darnay Scott drop really cost the Bengals a chance at victory last week. And this week a lot of things just unfolding for the Bengals that they thought we'll be able to overcome what happened to us last week. Coslett took his team out of pass so that they'd be prepared for this ballgame.
A very disappointing performance thus far from the Bengals. This time Johnson gets off at beauty. Leon Johnson backtracks. 38-yard line he begins. In the midfield and down to the 45-yard line. Truitt on the tackle. Bengals trailing 24-7 late 3rd. Jeff Blake just 6 of 14, 93 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. A long afternoon for the Bengal quarterback. Right now O'Donnell, the Jets quarterback, out there. 1st and 10 at his own 45. The Jets lead 24-7. Agent Morrell hit right away. Andre Collins and John Copeland Let's go down to Len Berman with the Jets' special guest here today.
That's right, Mike. What an honor it is to be with an NFL Hall of Famer, Weeb Ewbank. Weeb, what do you think of these Jets?
Well, I think they're doing very well. I got a chance to get out and see them in New York a while back, and I went out and saw practice, and it looks like they're doing a fine job. They're well organized. The guys were working hard, and I came down here, came out this way. And I always get out here to see Jets here in Indianapolis, which I'll be at Indianapolis next week. Great today.
Hey, Weeb, when the Super Bowl III was judged to be the greatest New York sports moment of all time recently, when Joe Namath guaranteed that win, did you want to kill him?
I sure did. I'd have shot him right away, but I didn't know about it till the next day. And Joe, to show you what kind of guy he is, I called in and I'd ask him not to say anything that might stir them up, because I like the 17-point underdog. And so I said, Joe, what'd you say that for? He said, Coach, it's your fault. He said, you got us believing we can do it. And he said, I wanted to tell the truth, because that's the way I felt. You had me believing. I said, well, Shula's going to use that against us. And he says, Coach, if Shula has to use that against us, he says, we're going to win anyway.
Coach, you had the control when you were running the Jets. Parcells has the control now, so I'm guessing you guys made about the same money, right?
No. There are a lot of guys that coach the Jets got more money than I got all the time I was there. For they were not coaching the game. Nice coaching, I didn't make as much.
Weeb, great to see you. See you next week in Indianapolis.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, Len. Thank you, Weeb Ewbank. Jets now in a 4th and 1. Jeff Graham hauled that in, and he was forced out. And Bill Parcells will call timeout. 4th and 1. His team leading 24-7. Final minute, 3rd quarter.
You're watching the NFL on NBC.
Bill Parcells will go for it on 4th down for the 2nd time today. Successful on the 1st time. On the season, the Jets are 8 for 10 on 4th down. And they've got 4th and 1 right now at the Bengals 36-yard line. Burke in motion. Hand off Morrell. And Morrell appears to have the 1st down. Still no official signal as the quarter winds down. There it is. 1st down, Jets.
No, that's not an official. That's just a big Jet hand going up there. That was Mala. You know, he was at home watching it, and while he was at home last week, he was doing all the signaling and everything.
I thought it was Mala Markbright, but apparently not.
They've moved the ball back from where the Jets had thought it was supposed to have been spotted. There's Adrian Morrell protesting a little bit, but
So Mala with the right call, and the Jets will hold on. So a 1st down now at the Bengal 35-yard line. You never know that he's up 24-7.
He doesn't want his team to get that comfortable feeling. This is a new experience for them. You know, this deep in the season, having a chance to be above 500 for a ball club that was 1-15 last year is a huge hurdle.
One thing will never happen with a Bill Parcells team, and that's complacency. The Jets coming out strong right from the get-go this afternoon. 3 quarters complete in Cincinnati. They lead 24-7. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. This is the NFL on NBC.
This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
Boomer Esiason on the sideline, and he has to wonder, do you put me in? And, I mean, what does that do to the rest of the ball club for the remainder of the season before Jeff Blake to throw?
As Morrell gets the call, Morrell breaks the tackle. There goes Adrian Morrell. Greg Myers finally brings him down at the 21-yard line. Right now, let's go back to the arc. Another update from Greg Gumbel.
All right, Mike, in Kansas City, Warren Moon with his second touchdown pass of the afternoon. This a 54-yard strike to James McKnight. Puts Seattle up 17-14, but Pete Stoyanovich, a 29-yard field goal, has it all tied up early in the fourth quarter. Mike?
Thank you, Greg. Seattle seemingly back on track after their horrible opening loss.
That's a left-handed guy. He's warming up, but he has on the wrong number.
Eric Wilhelm, also another former Jet. All three Bengal quarterbacks at one time with the Jets. Morrell the handoff again. And Morrell runs out of bounds at about the 10. And, you know, you spoke about this earlier. The body language of the Bengal defense, just the way they look to be. There's no fire there right now.
No, there isn't. And there's no hustle to the ball. There's no sense of urgency. You know, they're kind of admitting that we're out of this ball game. And once again, there's the corner. So one of the things you need to turn things back in. You have everyone covering those gaps, but then you give the guy the corner. You know, granted, Morrell, you have to know what type of runner you're facing. A guy who's going to bounce it out. The other thing is you are not seeing a Bengal defender appear in the backfield. A guy flash in to disrupt the running of Adrian Morrell.
Morrell now with 127 yards rushing. Gets another carry. It's the 31st time he's carried the football as he gets down to about the 7 or 6 yard line.
You know, you're talking about all those Bengal quarterbacks who are former Jets. I would think that Joe Namath, who's thinking about making a comeback, might do it here in a Bengal uniform.
Let's get them all in. Bobby Brister, Ken O'Brien, Richard Todd, and Adrian Morrell has really helped out the quarterback today. A terrific performance.
And exactly what Bill Parcells said, we want to get this guy on track. And he said, you know, we also want to get Neil O'Donnell throwing the ball away if he doesn't have any explosive.
Second down and 6. They can still get a first down. O'Donnell to Richie Anderson. And Anderson dives in. Touchdown, Jets.
And defenders in his face, gets rid of that ball because he knows exactly where he has to go with it. Bill Parcells wondered, was he getting through to Neil O'Donnell? He said, is this guy hearing what I'm telling him? He said, you know, I'm saying one thing and he's nodding his head, but is it going to happen in the ball game? And I think the proof is in the pudding. Neil O'Donnell has performed very well. They've come after him. He's gotten rid of the ball. He has not held the ball. And that was one of the things that was just eaten away at Bill Parcells, that this guy would hold the ball and take sacks.
His third touchdown pass of the game. Richie Anderson's first touchdown of the season, running or receiving. And John Hall completes it. 31-7. The Jets dominating on the road. They open up the season with a huge road win in Seattle, and they're blowing out the Bengals in Cincinnati today. Adrian Morrell, 131 yards rushing. That has helped the Jets to a 31-7 lead with still over 13 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. And the wonder kicker, John Hall, has already got 3 touchbacks today, 16 for the season. And this one, not as long, a rare chance. As David Dunn will bring it out. And taken down hard from behind. Corwin Brown makes the tackle. So the Bengals will take over. Jeff Blake coming back out on the field with his team down 31-7.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Oracle, the company that's enabling the information age through network computing. By Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Staples, the office superstore.
The New York Jets have quieted the jungle. That's what Synergy Field is known as. And the Bengals have been a very tough home team, but not the case today. As the Jets have dominated this game in every category, including time of possession. The Jets have had the football over 34 minutes. The Bengals haven't even had it 13 minutes. Bruce Cosett, you just see, is disgusted.
Yeah, you can read it all over his face. He's exasperated. He has that play sheet, clutching that in his hand. You know, he's glancing at it. Nothing has worked so far. You only have so many plays. And now you get back to very basic things. You want your team to finish and do things well. And this is what they started the ball game doing, running Dillon. They had some success at that. And they got so far behind in the ball game that they had to move away from it.
Marvin Jones makes the tackle on Dillon. As you said, he was doing it but the defense did not do their job. And Blake, by the way, heard a chorus of boos as he entered the field again. I think a lot of people thought either Esiason or Wilhelm would come on in the game.
Yeah, they haven't seen Blake play this poorly at home since '94 when he played against the Steelers. But this is not the Jeff Blake we've come to know and love.
Blake completes to Tony McGee. McGee taken down at the 39-yard line by Victor Green.
McGee has almost been a forgotten guy in this offense. I mean, Pickens in the first 3 ball games had caught 8 passes in each ball game. And so granted, if Pickens is open, you go to him. Talk to McGee before the ball game. He's not complaining about his role, but it's a much reduced role than what he had in the past.
Pickens with just 2 catches this afternoon. Blake has only 7 completions. Flushed out. He's got plenty of open field and slides in safe at the 46-yard line. Good for a first down.
Now, I venture to say that if it is a 3-point ball game as opposed to a 24-point ball game, that Jeff Blake continues to get as many yards as he can.
I think you're right. As much as it pains me to agree with you.
Well, it would have pained Jeff Blake to try and run between those 2 defenders.
Speaking of pain, Bruce Coslett had high hopes for this week. And he talked so much about home field dominance and how important that was. Blake looks complete. Corey Dillon out of the backfield. And Dillon gets down to the 27-yard line. Aaron Glenn finally brought him down. A 21-yard pickup for the second-round pick out of Washington. Dillon's first NFL start. Played a little bit last week. And when he's been called upon, he's been very, very impressive.
Yeah, Dillon, big, strong back. And he's not used to losing. You know, he played at the University of Washington with a great ball club there. And all of a sudden, he's here. He's getting to play. The game to play, if you're losing, isn't all that it's cracked up to be.
Darnay Scott in motion. Blake incomplete. Had a little bit of pressure there. Intended for Tony McGee. Victor Green, good coverage.
You know, one of the hardest things for a rookie running back to learn is all of his blitz pickups and assignments. And Dillon's in the backfield, and he sees his guy coming. He gets back. He gets in the face of Pepper Johnson, and he provides Blake with the time to throw the ball. Granted, there's nobody open downfield, and Blake, that clock goes off in your head when you know you've had enough time to throw the ball, and he just had to get rid of that one.
We talked so much about O'Donnell and the Jet offense, with the Jet defense has really played well once again. As Glenn Berman told us earlier, Oakland didn't score in the second half last week, and they started late. Going for it, touchdown, Darnay Scott. He didn't drop that one.
Yeah, and that ball right there is important, because that's a play where Pickens is normally the go-to guy. Blake says, I'm going to come back, go away from Pickens, my main man. Darnay Scott makes a nice out-and-up move here. He makes a move on no one. And you see Otis Nixon there in the middle. You know, he had chased the guy down, and there's nobody to cover. And Darnay Scott, he was all alone last week and dropped one, so at least this time he caught it.
Parcells not happy about letting any joyous activity go on the Bengals sideline. As Pelfrey fixed the extra point. Darnay Scott with his first touchdown reception of the season. And it's 31-14 with 10:06 remaining. Still a lot of time, and Jeff Blake has engineered some terrific fourth-quarter wins before. The Bengals will try and do it again.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Call now to enjoy a hot, delicious Domino's Pizza during the game. For hot and wow, call Domino's now.
Bruce Coslett and offensive coordinator Kenny Anderson walking behind him. Speaking with the offense after their touchdown that took only 2 minutes 56 seconds, 79 yards. That was the key, not eating up too much time on the clock.
Yeah, it's one thing to engineer touchdown drives, but on the flip side of it, the defense has to engineer a stop now. They've only forced the Jets to put, I think, 2 times this afternoon. And you don't let them march out to midfield then punt. 3 and out. That's what you need right here.
31-14, still over 10 minutes. The onside kick. And it goes out of bounds. Greg Myers tried to run up to it and just couldn't get to it in time. And, of course, the penalty marker on the play. Nobody touched the football.
If you're wondering how Darnay Scott gets so wide open, he's in motion here. And what happens is Marco Battaglia is here. Otis Smith decides, well, I got Marco, I got Darnay. Darnay runs 4-3. I'll cover Marco. And there is the guy right there who's supposed to cover Scott. Well, Scott just slips up the field and goes deep for a touchdown. Now, maybe they figured, you know, Scott dropped it last week. He might drop it again this week, but it doesn't happen 2 weeks in a row. And he needed that for his confidence. You know, it's not a tough play to make, but it's a play that he had to make. You know, and he doesn't bobble the ball.
Scott's a good receiver.
He's confident in his abilities, but he turned down $2 million a year contract offer that the Bengals had offered him. And he's a number 2 receiver. And, you know, granted, the market for a number 2 receiver may be greater than that next year when the new TV money is supposed to flood in. That's what he and his agent think. So they turned the offer down. And you think about that when you go home at night.
First and 10 of the 42. Morrell hit from behind and taken down. Once again, let's return to the New York studios. Another update with Greg Gumbel. Greg?
All right, Mike, in San Diego, what a combo Stan Humphries to Tony Martin has been today. They hook up for the 3rd time for a touchdown. This is a 38-yarder with the extra point. The Chargers leapfrog back ahead of the Baltimore Ravens, 21-17 early in the 4th quarter, Mike.
All right, Greg. And the Chargers trying to bounce back from that loss to Seattle.
The Ravens went into that ballgame 3-1.
That's a different football team. They got a good defense this year. Morrell gets the call again on 2nd down. And very close to the 1st down. He's run out of bounds. Steve Tovar was right there. John Burke, the tight end, with a good block.
You know, I keep harping on the fact that the Bengals are getting the corner turned on them. But on the other side of the ball, someone has to be doing a good job to pin these guys in. And obviously that's Kyle Brady when he's been at tight end. Also Fred Baxter, who actually started this game off. Both those guys have been able to turn the outside linebacker and pin them to the inside. And Adrian Morrell does a good job in starting that run up inside and then bouncing it to the outside. And in conjunction with that, I said it once again, we're not getting any pressure right there from the defensive line in the middle.
Morrell gets the 1st down, gets the call again, and hit right away. Tovar, one of those in on the tackle, along with Copeland, who hit him first. And the clock ticking away. Bengals with all 3 of their timeouts remaining, but they are down 31-14. They've got to come up with some stops.
You see Tovar in. He went out last year with a knee injury. He's just now working himself back into shape. Tom Tumulty has a deep thigh bruise, number 53. He's not active today, so Tovar is forced into playing full-time. And if you haven't been playing a lot and you have to play the whole game, the oxygen level in those lungs starts to seep away after a while.
Tovar, the 50-year veteran. O'Donnell on a play fake. Gets rid of it. Complete. But hit immediately. Adrian Morrell on the reception. As Rico McDonald gets up slowly.
You know, everybody's getting up slowly. They have run the Jets close to 80 plays against the Bengals. The normal play count is right around 60 to 65. And that's it. You're done with the ball game. They're on overtime now. They want time and a half. You know, Keyshawn Johnson's job on this play is to occupy the safety on the deep half of the field because it's a 2-deep zone. You don't get pushed out of bounds because all of a sudden you become a non-factor in the game.
3rd and 4. Morrell fumbles the football on the pitch. They pounce on it. And it's Bengals ball. Sam Shade. And that's the first turnover for the Jets this afternoon.
And Sam Shade forced into the lineup because Tremaine Mack is out of the game. Yeah, it would have been real easy. A toss going the other way. Let Jill make the tackle on the other side of the field. I'll just stand over here and I'll tell the coach I was waiting for a reverse. Shade hustles to the play. The ball's on the ground. Bengals have a chance to get back in this thing.
Cincinnati Bengals have some life.
And there should be a sign around Bill Parcells that says, caution, flammable. You see all the players keeping the distance?
Blake on first down off the turnover. Taken from behind, Mo Lewis on the sack. And that's the second sack of the afternoon for Parcells' defense.
Now that's a play. Bill Parcells is happy about that. But what he's not happy about are the sloppy play, the mental errors that cost you to lose ball games when you really have this thing won. And, you know, like I said, everyone's keeping their distance. Before, you know, everybody, all the players realize that Parcells, the camera's going to be on him. And if you want your friends at home to see you, you stand near the coach. You don't stand near him when he's in the mood he's in, and it's not because of what he had for dinner last night.
He'll tell you patience is not his strongest suit. 2nd and 16. Blake fires it over the head of Marco Battaglia. Aaron Glenn, the coverage. James Farrier with good pressure of the backfield.
And a good job in the coverage downfield. Jerome Henderson, Aaron Glenn kind of working together on Pickens. And Jerome Henderson is a long-time Parcells guy. He was with him in New England. Brought over here, now he's in the starting lineup, and he understands what Parcells wants out of the ball game. And in this game, they want to deny Pickens the ball. Jerome Henderson wasn't in on the play earlier when Raymond Austin got beat for the touchdown. That's not going to happen to Jerome Henderson right now.
Pickens just 2 catches as Blake looks, dumps it off. Eric Bieniemy. Henderson chases him, can't bring him down, and then finally he's taken down. Chad Cascadden coming back to help.
You're in 4-down territory right now, and look at the time on the clock. Just under 7 minutes to play. This, you know, obviously the biggest play of the ball game for the Bengals. And Jeff Blake has to realize that we need 7 yards. You don't throw a 6-yard pass and expect the guy to pick it up. You get a pass beyond the sticks. And granted, you realize that Carl Pickens is being double covered. You have Darnay Scott, David Dunn, and McGee all on one side. That's the side that you're going to have to work on.
4th down for Cincinnati. They trail 31-14. Incomplete, intended for Dunn. Aaron Glenn. Excellent coverage on the play.
And that has been the play all day long. The Cincinnati Bengal receivers have not been able to get away from these guys at line of scrimmage. He doesn't threaten his outside enough. He runs straight at him, and then he tries to break inside. You have to threaten that guy as if you're going to go outside of him and run beyond him. He never does that.
And the Jets will take over right at midfield. Just over 6 minutes remaining. They lead 31-14. Our Miller Time game summary. Jets with a big lead here in the 4th quarter on the road. Neil O'Donnell, in addition to those numbers, no interceptions.
Yeah, but the unexpected stat, and we should have expected it because Bill Parcells told us, and he wouldn't lie to us, that Adrian Morrell's dominated this ball game.
And he gets it again. Maybe a 3-yard pickup. It has been a mass exodus here in Cincinnati. James Francis makes the tackle. Right now, let's go down to the field and Len Berman.
Well, Mike, you've talked about how they call this the jungle, but I'll tell you, this is not a home field advantage at all. This game was not sold out. It was not televised locally. This is not a hot ticket the way it used to be with the Bengals. And if they want to get a jungle home field kind of atmosphere going, they're going to have to win some games. I think the Bengals are at a bit of the crossroads right now. And as you said, fans piling out of here. By the way, as you know, this will be the first Jets 2-game winning streak in 3 years, Mike.
Since October of '94. In a long time, as Adrian Morrell gets a couple of yards, no more than that. James Francis again makes the tackle. This place was the jungle at the end of last year. Bengals really played well when Kozlitz took over. And they've been 6-0 at home since Kozlitz took over. But, you know, I think hurt in terms of the fans' interest. When they lost to Baltimore, in Baltimore, a lot of people still didn't realize the Ravens were a much improved team. But that's the type of loss that people say, they're not going to be that good this year, and they stay away.
And they had a lackluster preseason. Granted, they beat Arizona in the home opener, but it's a game where they have to come from behind. The Arizona Cardinals fumble the ball, almost give them the opportunity to get back in the ballgame. And the Jets haven't given up anything in this ballgame. They played very tight, no mistakes, error-free football.
3rd and 3. O'Donnell to Richie Anderson, who's got the first down and tackled at the 33-yard line. Jenny McCarthy's coming to NBC Sunday with her new comedy, Jenny, right after the season premiere of Men Behaving Badly. Terrific matchup. Men and Jen tonight on NBC, followed by tonight's movie, Clone.
You know, you could almost put all that together, and some of the people might call the Bengals Jennies today. They've behaved very badly, and perhaps if we clone them, we'll come up with a better team.
Stop it right now. I knew that was coming. 1st and 10. as Richie Anderson gets it.
The hell did you get?
Under 4 minutes remaining in what has been a very, very impressive Jet performance. Led by that man, Adrian Morrell, defining the term workhorse this afternoon.
You know, you would think that in the jungle something positive would happen, but this has been more of a nightmare on Elm Street for the Bengals today.
Second down and 7. Once again, our obligatory James Lofton movie reference.
And see, now Bill is happy, and you can come talk to him. But Pepper's kind of the first one to break the threshold. He's been around them, you know, maybe not the longest, but the most. You know, he had Jumbo earlier, he had William Roberts, but Pepper's his guy. They understand each other the best.
So you send a veteran in to break the ice, and everybody will gather. Morrell again, another call. And taken down about the 25. Adrian Morrell will sleep well tonight.
Now, I had said earlier that I take Morrell out because I don't want to overload him. And I think that Bill Parcells might have done that had he and Neil O'Donnell not botched that pitch. If they do that successfully and that drive is completed in a proper fashion, then Morrell's on the sideline. And you get the backup back, and you get Leon Johnson in there and get him some snaps from the halfback position.
Morrell has now carried 39 times. The franchise record is 40. We've got a 3rd and 3. Make it 40 for Adrian Morrell. It's down to the 22-yard line as we're approaching the 2-minute mark. Steve Tovar makes the tackle. And the Jets, who had that impressive road win to start the season in Seattle, and then there's a tough road loss in New England against the Patriots in overtime. They are proving that they have the ability to win on the road. Bill Parcells' team in complete control. President and General Manager Mike Brown suffering through this one. His Bengals beaten badly on their home field. 31-14 with 2 minutes remaining. Leon Johnson in the game. Johnson trying to get around. He scampers up to about the 12. And of course, remind you the NFL season. Everything you want to know about it on the World Wide Web on NFL.com, the league's official website. Anything you want about the NFL, you will find. Tidbits galore, shall we say.
See, normally you would think that you would want to phone it in, you know, a victory like this. This one you kind of web it in.
Now, do you think he feels silly with the score of the game and the way he looks?
I wonder if he has his laptop with him so he can get online and figure out what to wear for the next ball game.
Clock ticking away.
You know what? That's what Cosby wanted. He wanted the rowdies and the crazies to come out and get this team fired up, and the team never showed up.
And the Jets will just kneel this one out. Kneel on his knees. By the way, Adrian Morrell tied the franchise record with 40 carries. Johnny Hector had it, and this is what he loves to do.
Now, Morrell has his name in the record book a couple of times now. He also has the most rushing yardage in a game, 199 yards. So just write down the Adrian Morrell name a couple more times. There, see the blood on the shirt? Those were carries number 32 to 35 where he got that blood. It's not his blood. There's a pretty decent blocking back there. Maurice Carthon, now his coach.
Played, of course, for Parcells with the Giants. And O'Donnell, the Jet offense, really impressive. The Bengal defense did not stop them at all. And Bill Parcells, the turnaround has been amazing after the first 5 games. As we sit at the top, the perception around the NFL about these Jets has completely turned around. Bruce Coslett and Parcells now go their separate ways with a different evening ahead of them. Jumbo Elliott and the Jets have put together the Jets' first 2-game winning streak since October of '94. And for the Bengals, it's their first home loss under Bruce Coslett since he took over last season.
You know, when you win the ball game, you mill around a little more than when you're on the short end of the stick. And if you look at it, there are probably maybe 35 Jets on the field, about 15 Bengals. And there's Aaron Glenn. The job that he did today on Pickens, granted he had a little bit of help, but he was the guy at the line of scrimmage. A lot of those slant patterns, they never got away from him. You wanted the flag, I just wanted to applaud the guy because he played big today for a guy who's not big in stature.
And Glenn and the Jet defense next week will play in Indianapolis against the Colts. Jets now 3-2. Neil O'Donnell now 6-0 here in Cincinnati. 5 of those wins coming when he played with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for the Bengals, they have a tough stretch coming up. 2 road games at Jacksonville, at Tennessee. Then they host Pittsburgh as the AFC Central division heats up. For this one, all Jets. Neil O'Donnell, 3 touchdown passes as the Jets dominate from start to finish.